I'm Michelle.
And I'm Lisa, and this is what happens before Boca.
Hey, Lise.
Hey, Michelle.
Welcome to episode 12.
Excited to be here.
Before we dive into this week's topic, let's unpack a little bit about the week. We wrapped up the birthday celebration.
The birthday celebration was good. I decided I'm going to really enjoy my birthday. I'm not going to get caught up on the number. I like doing a lot of little things with all the important people in my life.
Yeah.
And I do have a birthday story, but I'm going to hold on to it until we segue into our episode because it's relevant.
It's relevant.
The week, I think we should acknowledge International Women's Day.
A big day. March 8th was International Women's Day.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I never really paid attention to the fact that there was an International Women's Day, but I did think about it on that day. One of the funniest meme was the fact that it fell on daylight savings time.
Oh my God, that was a good one. I think I sent that too. That was a good one. It was so
we lost an hour of it. So appropriate. Not to say poor women,
it was
women.
Like on brand, she said.
Very on brand.
Yeah.
And I think that we should celebrate more, like all the strong women in our lives that came before us, that raised us, that mentored us, and our friends that helped us raise our children.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pretty cool women out there in our lives. So cheers to you girls.
And I think women, and especially girls these days, I mean, you're raising one, they feel like so strong and independent, and they have so many things to say, and I love it.
I do too.
Yeah.
So speaking of strong women, that should segue into the Love is Blind frickin' reunion.
The reunion. So many things to say on this. I know you have one very important thing to say, but before we get into that, wait for, who are they? The Latch, how do you say their name correctly? Lachey's to show up finally at a reunion, asking the hard questions, having the hard conversations. I've watched it for so many years, and this is the first reunion where I was like, yes,
yeah, I don't really watch, so I didn't know. I've only watched, I think, season 1 and then this season, but yeah, I thought they were good, but that was part of also my comments that I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So, as you all know, as I've talked in the last couple of weeks, there were like a few of the men that were really being targeted on social media, and like, I shared the opinion that they were pretty shitty, whether they were liars or they were just degrading women's bodies. It was like really ugly. Yeah. So specifically, we're talking about one contestant. His name was Chris, who was really getting trashed in social media. Like everyone making memes about how he had talked to his partner about he could only date women that are working out at CrossFit or whatever. Anyway. But I think what was almost harder for me to watch was like the secondhand embarrassment of Chris getting reamed on the reunion. Like it was so hard and awkward. And as much as I was like, yes, he deserves all of this, watching it was so uncomfortable. Like Nick Lachey going like, I almost had to turn the channel. I couldn't even watch it. It was so
right. Now it's time for you to discuss it with your therapist.
Right. Like one of the other women just being like, I hate you. Like it was so hard to watch another human being, even though he was a human being who had been so unkind.
Yeah.
Like it was so hard to watch everyone else also then be so unkind to him and like gang up on him in such like an aggressive way. And you could just see like he was like it looked like he was holding back tears. And I didn't have empathy necessarily for him. It was just almost like my own secondhand embarrassment that was so hard to watch. So I didn't love the reunion.
Okay, so here's my thoughts on it. I did like that they asked hard questions at the reunion because I think a lot of times people look at these shows. I love how we're having this like really intense discussion, so serious on Love is Blind, but it is a social experiment, and I do think we could take things away from it, or at least I did. I like when they ask the difficult questions because if you're going to go through what some people call the theatrics of the show, at the end you should get to the bottom of it, and that's really a time to do this. Here's my thoughts. Chris, I feel like, look, there is a part of the show which might be staged. They might encourage him to say things that
provocatively.
Alcohol is involved in the show. I think that's always an issue. So editing is involved. And I do think we have to give everybody grace. No, I do not agree with the things he said about women, about Jessica, about her body. Exercise, her body. I do think that maybe he's not the most eloquent or intelligent human being. So maybe the things that he was trying to say, I want to say what he's trying to say is that he enjoys working out so much. And like we're going to talk about in our episode today, it is important to do things with your partner that you are both interested in doing. And he did get up in the morning when they were in Cabo and he wanted to go swimming. And she was like, no, I'm just going to watch. So I think he's a little bit misunderstood, but seeing the tears in his eyes really led me to believe that he is human.
Yeah. And we did like his apology. We did like his apology. He thought he handled it as best he could. Still not forgiving him and still thinking it was a ridiculous comment and still all the stuff in the bar and going after Breezy and all that stuff was bad. But
yeah, I don't think he needs to be canceled. I do see a difference also in him and who's the soccer player? Alex. Okay, so this is my problem. At least somebody like Chris shows up with some emotion and he might have needed a little bit like of a push by Nick to apologize. And the therapist comment wasn't so nice, but I think he's going to do the hard work and I think he's going to be a better person for the show. I hope. Alex scares me. He is the kind of guy that gaslights, that changes stories, that makes you think that you are nuts. He's combative. He's like, everything's an argument. I don't believe a word he says. I think actually for me, he's the villain in this whole.
Yeah. Well, it's actually, this is probably like an apropos topic as we go into our real topic for the week, which is like marriage. And, it shows that like picking your partner is extremely important. And like all these little sides of people that come out in the beginning, you have to pay attention to because there are going to be the same sides that come out 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later. Like people for the most part are who they are, with some exceptions in terms of like behavioral changes. But
I agree. I mean, I often say to my husband about the boys, they were born who they are and they will remain so until the end of time. Yeah. There's only so much, and we do too. There's only so much that you can change. So I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to leave my rest of the thoughts, but I am going to post the funny memes about Love is Blind because there's a lot of them and I have pages of them, which Michelle's looking at my pages right now. And she's like, you're not saying all of that.
No, I'm just saying your print is so big. It's like you're really only saying one thing.
Well, I'm blind. Before we get into the episode though, I do want to give a shout out to two of our kids.
I know.
Jake and Stella.
Yes.
So this is what I love so much about, friendships, that sometimes people are friends despite being for them in different grades at school. Like they're not friends because we are friends. No. They are independent friends who there's something that they admire, just really like about each other as fellow human beings. So they're both in California. Jake's in San Jose. Stella's in Santa Barbara. And I've been encouraging Jake to, reach out to connections that he has just because he's such a friendly kid and he's always loved Stella. So he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to text Stella. Michelle thought that I said that he was going to Santa Barbara this particular last weekend. He wasn't. He just got the text from Stella that she was having a party for her roommate. And Jake's like, I'm going to take a ride down to Santa Barbara. And off he goes.
4.5 hours. Let's be clear. So we were like dying. We were so excited they were going to be together. It felt like a little piece of us was with them. And it was great. They had such a good time. So I love that. I love how, sometimes just like your home comfort can just be a comfort.
Yep. And I like how friendships form not because, your kids cross over or, like our friendship. Our friendship, we don't have any kids in common. You just like a human being. It's, I guess. Pretty cool. So, are we ready to
dive in?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in this week's episode, I'm actually going to do something I don't normally do, which is put my therapist hat on a little bit for like a hot second. So we can talk about something that I think is like a pretty common theme that I see in my practice, certainly, that I hear from a lot of, women our age, which is like how to rebuild your marriage, how to keep your marriage strong, how to rekindle like an intimacy and a couple's connection when your kids are kind of out of the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think it's very common to feel like parenting is the thing that, for the chunk of your relationship, is the thing that is sort of your bond. But when we take that out of the everyday equation, kind of what's left, right?
Right.
So we want to explore how we got here, like what happened to sort of get our marriages to where they are today.
Right.
And what do we do to sort of rekindle if it feels like it's off track, or even just if it's not off track, how to make it stronger.
Right. So I think we could all agree that choosing a life partner is, if not it's one of the most impactful choices we will ever make in our life. It's who you spend the most time with. It's who you make the most important decisions with. And hopefully it's who you grow old with. Yeah. So taking care of this relationship is important. But like many women, we are busy raising our families, and being a couple sort of becomes a little bit of back burner material. And when we believe the kids are older, we will rekindle that relationship that we've not left behind, but certainly have not
on ice.
Focused on.
Right.
On ice.
Yeah,
right.
Like
That's a good one.
Ice, right?
I mean, I've been with Gary since I'm 16 years old. I said the other day, it came out of my mouth and I couldn't honestly believe it. 40 years of my 55 years I've been with Gary, which is...
It's crazy. So he's been through
nuts.
So many chapters with you, and they each had to have looked a little bit different, right? Craig and I have been together since I'm 21, which is also pretty young.
Yeah.
And I think, there are so many chapters. And certainly when I think of us as a family more than a couple.
Correct.
At this point.
Agree.
And so what happens when, not that you're not a family anymore, when your kids leave the house, but you're more of a couple now. And so that's the part that I think is interesting to talk about.
It's so interesting. And also, don't forget, I was 16, you were 21. We were babies. Like the things that we were thinking about then, when I was 16, I was thinking about how am I going to get out of the house wearing what I want to wear or doing what I want to do without my mom seeing? And how am I going to get home without her waiting in her bathrobe?
Right. Like your boys are 16, me 16, thinking about them making that choice right now, that's going to be the choice of the rest of their lives, feels crazy to me. But also sometimes when you know.
And when you're with somebody for that long, you sort of grow up together. So you were on such a different trajectory. How do you say that?
Trajectory.
Trajectory. In that part of your life. And then it shifts. And so all of a sudden, you're on this different trajectory, and you're those two pieces don't always make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. Okay.
So statistically, about 1/3 of divorces are considered gray divorces, which is couples that are older than 50, which is a very interesting and new phenomenon. The fact that all of these divorces that are happening later in life, that was not the trend. In the 80s and 90s, this is a new kind of a thing.
But don't you think, I'm sorry to interrupt, but don't you think in a way that makes so much more sense? Because that's when you're left together after, that previous portion of your life, when you're raising your family or when you have this intense career, that's when you kind of learn, do I really like this person? So it makes sense on one level and it's so different on another.
Well, what I think is the actual interesting part, which I don't know if I said this, so if I'm repeating myself, is that they're initiated, these divorces, by women.
Very interesting.
That they're mostly initiated by women. So I think what it speaks to is women feeling strong, women feeling empowered. If this relationship no longer serves me, if we raised our families together, am I happy enough in this relationship? So I do think that's an interesting component of it.
Yeah. And there's different kinds of, what did I call myself the other day? I'm a dream weaver. You remember that song, Dream Weaver?
Yeah.
I like the part of marriage and relationships that is a little bit more traditional. There's something about it. There was something about my papi opening the door for my grandma to get in and out of the car every day of their life that they were together. Yeah. So I like that tradition. But what you just said about initiated by women, and speaking of International Women's Day, I feel like women are stronger. They are making decisions independent of that traditional, Leave It to Beaver classic relationship.
And thinking about divorces too, Esther Perel, who's, a famous marital therapist, she talks in her book about how couples today don't divorce because they're not happy. They divorce because they think they could be happier.
Mm.
And that's interesting. It's like we want more than just sometimes the complacency. We're looking for more. And certainly relationships are hard. And sometimes when they get too hard, it's okay to say this isn't serving me anymore.
Right.
But sometimes they're just hard because we aren't doing the work.
Yeah.
And so I think we want to look today about, kind of what work we can do to keep our relationships strong and healthy.
Right. So let's start with how we got here, because most couples don't drift apart in some like huge dramatic way. It's like the subtle little changes that happen. Life just fills up space, and little by little, the conversations, the time together, even the attention you give each other starts changing and replaced by everything else that you need.
That's right. So I like to tell my patients, like, think of your relationship as like a bridge. It's like you and your husband that you meet. It's just like the two of you together. That's it. But then as time goes on and as you sort of evolve in your creating of a family, everything piles on top of that bridge, like your children, your careers, finances, your parents aging, your kids' social life, your kids' mental health, your kids' social stuff, your own social life, everything.
That's a heavy bridge.
Right. It's a heavy burden to bear on a couple. And I think what happens for the most part is that if we have a strong foundation, we look at each other and go, we're fine. Let's concentrate on the kids. Or we're fine. Let's worry about our careers. Or we're fine. Let's, so we keep kind of paying more attention to the things that feel like burning fires and less attention to us as a couple. So I think that's how we sort of get here. And the focus sort of right away from the beginning, the minute you have a baby, is like, how do we take care of this child?
Right.
How do we take care of his or her needs? How do we make sure their life is the best life that it can be? And it's like this common goal that we have that feels like great. And then we get them to the finish line and it's like, now what?
Right. So in practical terms, if I hear what you're saying, is that we are putting the couple aspect on hold because we have so many other things on that bridge right now.
Yes.
And that really is the crux of it. You taught me about this famous, are they husband and wives?
The Gottmans.
One of the most famous couple marital researchers. And they pointed out that some of the major changes in how couples relate to each other once they have kids is that emotional drain on them. So that and it resonates. Like I can think of many times in raising our kids where, you know, you just really had to, like when Jake was diagnosed with diabetes, like anything couple about me and Gary, we were a strong unit, but it uncoupled because now all of a sudden we were doing things that were just based around Jake.
Yeah, of course. And I think about it. Date nights become less. Sex becomes less. Deep conversations become less. Like we're more like a logistical, well-oiled machine. Like how do we get people from A to B? Who's picking up who? What are we having for dinner? What are we doing on spring break? It's not like the kinds of conversations you would have when you were dating, right?
You're talking a lot about logistics with the kids and not really talking about like your dating life. So before kids, you had these deep conversations. And after kids, you have these quick check-ins. Before kids, you had spontaneity with sex. Like you were just like, oh, okay, now's the time. After kids, you have, you know, we were just talking about this. Who's coming into your bedroom at all hours of the night. Before kids, you share your dreams, and after your kids, you focus on your immediate needs, and like sometimes your dreams are put on hold. And I think a lot of people lose themselves in that. And before kids, you're emotionally available, and after kids, you're exhausted.
I mean, I think essentially the whole family system wreaks havoc on the couple. Like essentially. And you have to then repair that as the kids need you less and as the kids are less of the central focus.
So put your therapy hat on for a second. Not to put you on the spot, but so what should couples do when they feel this disconnection or they're scared to see how life looks like, not as a kid's parent, but as a couple?
So I think there's a lot of different scenarios. There's definitely not a one size fits all. But I think first you have to ask yourself, like,
100%.
No, I don't care. Okay. She's so cute. Feel like you first have to ask yourself, like, why, right? Like how we know the couplehood was put on hold a little bit by the kids. So certainly there's just that piece. But are we spending less time together? Like, is that it? Did we grow apart? Like, do we want different things? Do we have different hopes and dreams? Is there too much tension between us? Like, I think that's a thing that there's just like a lot of couples that I see have a lot of just resentment that just keeps building and building that was never dealt with. Have we neglected the romantic part of our relationship? Like, is there no more intimacy? Are we not having sex at all? Are we never holding hands? Do we never hug? Do we never kiss goodbye? Like, those things are important in a relationship.
Yeah. And we'll get to this in our menopause issue, but there's also like different changes in our body that are occurring that make it more difficult to sometimes do those things.
Yeah. So I think you first have to do a little bit of an analysis of, was it just the kids getting in the way, or are we different people? You know, is there too much tension? Like all the things I just said, right? Like I think you first have to figure out why it's happened, and then you can create a roadmap back to being a couple. I think there are stories we tell ourselves in a relationship that get very kind of compounded year after year. Like if you're saying to yourself like, oh, he's so controlling, or, oh, he's not interested in me, or, oh, you know, and that's something you've been telling yourself for 20, 30 years.
Right.
It's hard to undo that narrative. And then all of a sudden you're like, this is the story of us. Like we are this. And I think it's time at this point to think about, is that the story you want to continue on?
Right. Is that my roadmap? I like that. And what you said before, long marriages really do have chapters. There's the early years when everything feels new, and then the intense parenting years and, you know, juggling life. And now this next phase when things slow down, you can really take a look at your relationship and see where you want to go to with it. So according to another study done in 2021 in Wisconsin with over 3,700 participants, higher marital closeness in the empty nest phase was related to couples reprioritizing their relationships.
Yeah. So it wasn't just more about just time spent. It was about like, you are my priority now.
Right.
Like the kids are not our priority anymore. You are my priority. This relationship is my priority, which is not something most of us have felt.
Right.
I remember years ago, I don't know if you'll remember this, there was an Oprah episode where this woman had written an article in the New York Times about how she puts her husband first before her kids.
I do remember
And it was so controversial.
Yes, people had a big problem with that.
Big reaction to it because hi
Rosie's
baby,
part
Rosie came
of the
to visit
episode
us.
Today.
Because I think people couldn't understand how someone could think like that. And I'm not suggesting that that's the right way to think or the wrong way to think, but I am suggesting that there is at a time, an appropriate time for it to shift.
Right.
To say, okay, we've done what we did for the kids for the last 20 years. They're off living their lives. This is my life now. And now I have to shift that prioritization.
Yeah. So let's talk about tangible ideas that couples can do that might rekindle the connection or just keep it strong in the next phase of life. Because it doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes it's just making the relationship feel like it matters again. And a study by Arthur Aaron shows that couples who do new and exciting things together experience an increase in marital satisfaction. So maybe learning a new sport together, like pickleball, or traveling to new places, like Mallorca, or taking a class together, or starting a hobby. And it's like, it kind of almost reminds me of like going back to the initial phase of your relationship when it was like so young and fun. And what, like, it doesn't have to be old and boring.
It's so funny when I think about what Craig and I did when we first started dating. We lived in the city, but he was just never a city person. Like any excuse to get out of the city, he would want to do. So we used to joke that we would go on like the mall tour of America. Like we would go to a different mall
Go to Paramus
every weekend and just, not every weekend, but like a lot of times just walk around. We would never even buy anything. It was just fun to hold hands and walk around together and like look at things. I don't even know what we were doing, but like that was like, you know, we never do that now. We never just like go and hold hands and walk around a mall together. Like it's just, you know.
Even listening to, when Gary and I were first together, I mean, we were seniors in high school, even listening to, we used to listen to Squeeze, remember Squeeze singles
Squeeze,
in the car, and just like talking about the songs and just sitting and talking. Like it doesn't have to be these huge gestures. Like, yeah, we all want to go to like, you know, Tuscany and do this and do that. But the little things.
Totally the little things. So going back to the Gottmans again, they found that couples who have couple time, right, that have like rituals like morning coffee together, or we always take a walk after dinner, or we always sit with a glass of wine on the porch, those kind of couples, have, they call them like predictable emotional connections. That is one of the things that they suggest is really helpful in rekindling a strong connection.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that is like a little thing. Also creating new life goals or life plans, like a new business or a bucket list or volunteering together, creates these shared goals, which builds like a team identity.
Which replaces the whole team parenting feeling.
Family identity. Right. We're still a family. It's just a different, familial unit. We used shared goals to have kids and to fulfill like the needs of our kids. And now we need something to replace that.
Right.
For a long time, that shared focus for most couples is the kids and their schedules, their needs, their futures. So once that changes, it actually helps to have something that feels new and exciting.
Yeah, like something you together are focusing on, whether you, buy a beach house, whether you volunteer at the local food shelter, whether you, are redecorating something or planning your dream trips. It's like a new focus that you can do together.
Right.
That isn't just like, how are we going to get our kids into college?
Right.
Kind of a thing.
Okay. So get into it because I know it's coming and I'm ready to blush because I probably need some makeup on my face anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, a big part, and I'll take this one, is rekindling the intimacy, and I think a lot of couples lose that somewhere along the way. And whether that's intimacy of just affection, hand-holding, cuddling, or actual sex. Okay. So that is one thing that you have to figure out. Is our intimacy something that's lacking? Is it something that we're both on the same page with? Like I always tell my couples when they're like, well, how many times a week should we be having sex? Or what's the right amount of time for a couple who's been together? And I'm like, there is zero right amount of time. It's like, what you and
Can you tell partner, everybody one?
Right. Everybody one. Like it's what you and your partner are on the same page about. If you're fine having sex one time a year, great. If you're fine once a month, great. If you're once a week, great. If you're once a day, great. I mean, sorry for you if you're once a day, but still. I mean, you have to figure out what is right for you, and then that's fine, as long as you are on a similar page. But if you're not on the similar page, then you have to figure out what's happening. Like, why are we not on the same page? Is it an emotional disconnect for a woman that she feels like, now I don't want to be physical because I don't feel emotionally connected? Is it that like it doesn't feel good anymore? Right. Perimenopause, all that kind of stuff. So I would say get curious about that piece because it is important.
Just when you all thought that I was so prude, I will recommend Uber Lube. So if it doesn't feel good physically, my endocrinologist told me about this and she changed my life because menopause does affect that.
Yeah. I mean, you can't ignore it. It's not like, and if you have a doctor who's telling you it has nothing to do with that, that's also wrong. Like
donkeys.
Talk to your doctor about HRT. It will help.
Yes. And Uber Lube is the only lubricant that I have ever used that doesn't cause irritation.
Good to know.
It's good to know.
I'm so happy you're really coming out of your shell and now sharing your lube recommendations. You feel so Gwyneth Paltrow right now.
Oh, right. I love the idea of just cuddling and, snuggling in on a Sunday. I think our boys might think that we're like the grandparents from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because every time we're in bed. But there is something so cozy about it that it feels so good. And that all those nostalgia studies, which I'm sure you know so much.
Yeah.
You're probably more eloquent on that, but it, just brings you back to a younger time and it feels good.
Yeah. To go back, you mean, in your relationship and think, I mean, I do think it's important to look back at your first date, recreate some of the things that you used to do that were fun. I mean, maybe me and Craig will be revisiting malls, although I doubt it. But, the things that you used to do that you found fun together, you have to recreate those things. Looking back at your wedding album, looking back at, where you went on your first date, recreating some of those moments, I think is important.
It's really special. Somebody asked me yesterday what was my first date with my husband. And it's so relevant now because it's junior prom this weekend for my twins. Really, my first date with Gary was the prom.
Oh my God, that's so romantic.
And it was so great. Besides like going to the prom and like everything involved in that, after the prom, we went to the city and we went on a horse and carriage ride. And I forget what else we did, but it really was our first date. So when I talk about like in terms of, that's a big first date.
That's a very big first date.
Yeah.
We went to the movies. Jeez.
Yeah. But I love talking about it. And it brings you back to like a different time.
Well, and I think it also reminds you of like, I can picture that first date. Like it was snowing. It actually was like could have been March 20th or March 6th. I always get confused.
Mm-hmm.
But
March 6th, it would be my birthday.
It was either your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I got to look back at the year and see if it was a Saturday night, because I guess it would have been a Saturday night. But like, it was snowing, and I just remember the feeling of like not wanting the night to end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just thinking like, oh, like we went to the movies and then we went to dinner after, and like we joke about it because we went to Blue Ribbon Sushi. Remember that place?
Of course.
And I ordered an artichoke, not knowing that it was one of those artichokes you to like peel with your teeth. Like, who orders that on a first date? I thought it was like an artichoke, like
in an artichoke salad. Yes. Yeah.
So I'm now like peeling.
There's something sexy about that, though.
No. Okay. I kept feeling like there was shit in my teeth, I'm sure. I was so self-conscious. And I remember afterwards we went to like a bar and we were like had another drink, and then we were standing outside, and I just remember it was snowing around us, and I remember thinking like, this is so romantic. And I came home that night and I either said to my roommate or my mom, I think it was my mom, like, I'm going to marry this guy. And it was like, I knew right away, you know? And so trying to get back to like what those feelings felt like in that moment, that I didn't want the night to end. I couldn't wait to see him again. Mm-hmm. Like that's, you know, if you remember that, and remember, like, sometimes I'll say to my patients, like, what drew you together? Mm-hmm. And when you stop and you think about it and you tell the story, you just soften because you think this is, you know, there was a lot of love there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I saw Gary, so we grew up together in Paramus. We actually went to camp together, like when we were 8 years old.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that picture upstairs? It's cute.
Yes.
It's like,
oh my God.
As 8 years old. But then he went to private school and I went to public school. So we really, our paths didn't cross again until high school. And he went to Eastbrook and I went to Westbrook. He didn't go to the Temple. So I really didn't meet him again until senior year.
Yeah.
And he walked into my friend Adam's basement where we would hang out all the time senior year in a certain...
You mean junior year, because we went to prom together.
No, we only had a senior prom.
Oh, only
we never
senior
had a junior prom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He walked in wearing a Sergio Tacchini purple jacket. And I
hot,
just was like...
That's hot.
He was like the cat's meow.
Oh my God. Stop it.
So cute.
So cute.
Yeah.
I love that.
But... Fun fact, he almost didn't take me to the prom. He almost took somebody else at one of his best friend's sisters, which we still talk about today. So life
like,
could
would
have
that
been
have totally
different.
set your life on a different path?
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's like, I love thinking about that.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't be a Halpern right now. And also, moms with boys, I think it's just so different these days, but I had to call his house and it took so long to get up nerve to call. And one afternoon I called and I don't know if it's his mom or one of his sisters who answered the phone. And I said, "Hi, this is Lisa. May I please speak to Gary?" And they said, "Hold on." And then they came back like after like a few minutes and they said, "He's watching a movie right now.
Can he call you back?
Can he call you back?" And I was like, watching a movie?
I mean, the fact that we had to do that, like call someone's house to ask for them, not just send a text, I mean, these boys don't realize, and girls don't realize how easy they have.
Oh my God.
They really don't.
And I had to wait until the movie was over. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
so I also want to
we digress.
We digress because I also want to talk about Lisa and I went back this week and we spent some more time with the ladies of the Jewish home. And so, of course, we had to tell them about this episode that we were doing. And we asked them if they had any marital advice to share. They are hysterical.
They're so hysterical.
But they did have like 3 pieces of good advice that I wanted to just mention. One was to be friends, to make sure that your foundation is built on friendship.
Yep.
Compromise, which I think is an important one, and one I'm
important,
not good at.
Yeah,
as Craig would say. He says I like to get my way.
I mean, you do have strong opinions. I think there's difference between like having strong opinions and being able to compromise. Yeah.
And then learn how to say you're sorry and accept sorry, which we talked about afterwards a lot.
Oh my God. So another quick story about poor Gary's getting a lot of airtime today.
We are talking about marriage.
About marriage. So like I said, I love my birthday. We have a tradition in our house that we always decorate since the boys were born, whether they knew we were doing it or not. We decorate the kitchen for birthdays. So this year I walked downstairs on March 6th and I'm waiting for that like dopamine boost with like balloons and streamers and
nada.
Not a thing, not one thing. Not a hat, not a card, not a balloon, not a streamer. And my heart dropped. And I didn't say anything. I said something to Zach, who's abroad. I was like, oh my God, Zach, you left and there's no decorations. But then at night, I finally decided to say something. And I was like, I was like a little disappointed. And I went to sleep and I had like a little sniffles. I was crying. And the next day, when I came in from, I think I'd gone out for dinner. And when I came in, it looked like, party fair had like thrown up in the kitchen. And there was a note from Gary, and forget about the balloons and all that stuff. There was a note from him that said that part of being married is to accept apologies and that he really effed up and he was sorry. And it didn't take me like 1 second to like be like, okay.
Yeah. It's so true. And I think I always say to you, like, one of my favorite things about my marriage is we don't linger in conflict at all, like long. Like we could have a blow up fight and 5 minutes later, we're like back on track. Like Craig does not hold grudges. He moves through it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you know you're not ending your marriage over this,
right?
Like, how long are you going to linger in the conflict?
How long are you
and I do think that's an important part of healthy relationships. You have to have conflict. You have to fight. You do. But then you also have to be able to move on from it.
And make up. I think as I get older, I think it's easier for me to like get through it. I remember like wanting like younger fighting and wanting to be right and make a point and have the person understand. And now I'm just like, okay, let's just get through it.
Yeah, let's get through it. And I think also using humor is like a big part. Like we could joke about it. We can poke a little fun. We can move on. And I'm not saying not to talk some things through, but some parts of it is just like, can I accept this? It's accept the mistake, accept this person for who they are. I think that's a big part too.
What I don't like though is when you sort of just accept apologies that are just said for the sake of saying, and then you get through it because you don't want to fight. I do think that there is an element of understanding like how the other person feels. That's important.
Yeah, no, I think you definitely have to understand. And I think you should be sharing and validating. I think that's a lot of work that I do in my couples therapy is, with my patients is like understanding the difference between validation and telling the other person they're right. Being able to validate and say like, I understand how you're feeling. I can see why you felt that way. I hear you. I understand you. Goes a long way.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now let's look at the 5 biggest predictors of whether a couple will rekindle in the empty nest phase or they will drift towards divorce, which is glum, I know. But I think these are just like interesting things to think about as like you move forward. Like what are the things, what are the things that are actually that you should be aware of that you should work on?
Yeah, I think those are important. They were helpful to me. So the first one is friendship. That is the single biggest predictor of marital stability. Liking and respecting one another, positive daily interactions, and really knowing your partner's inner world. When you think about it, it really is a foundation. At the end of the day, you want to feel like the person you're married to is someone you genuinely like to be around.
Correct. And when it says 5-to-1 positive to negative ratio in terms of interactions, it's like if you're mostly having negative interactions, you're constantly criticizing, you're constantly complaining, you're constantly stonewalling, you're doing all those kinds of things, you're showing a lot of contempt. And then every so often you're like having some sort of a positive interaction. We want to see the opposite. We want to see, 5 positive interactions to one negative.
That makes perfect sense.
I think that's hugely important. Just how do we talk to each other? Like, are we kind? And are we friends? Do we like to spend time together? So the Gottmans also talk about this concept, and I think it's such an interesting one because I think people don't think of it as an important part of marriage, but they call it bids for connection. And what that really is do you turn towards each other when someone tries to connect, or do you turn away? So if you say to your partner, like, oh my God, look at that rainbow. And your partner's like, where? Oh my God, let me see. That's so pretty. Or does your partner go, I don't care, and just go back to their phone, right? When I try to tell you a story, do you ask questions? Are you engaged? Do you want to hear about it? Do you ask me how my day is? And then I give you a real answer. Or are we just turning away from each other when we try to communicate? And I think people don't think that those little interactions really count. But if you notice them in your relationship and think about, oh, like, how nice was it that I said this thing and he or she turned to me and was responsive?
Yeah, I like that. Like somebody's truly interested in what you have to say or see. The next is willingness to engage in novel experiences together. Couples who embrace new experiences together tend to rekindle romance. And I think that this is like sort of like that concept of like living under the same roof, but living different lives as opposed to
like parallel lives. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's like a big, because again, if going to the kids' soccer game was your main event and now you don't have that. And so he's golfing and you're playing mahjong and you're not like finding common ground together. And you're not like, you know what, let's both take up pickleball, or let's both like start hiking, or let's both do this new thing together. I think that is extremely important.
Of course, Gary does not play mahjong, but we always played. I'm a big card game player, and even in college, we would play Rummy 500, which is like similar to mahjong in some ways. And we played it the other day.
Yeah, we've been like bringing out like categories.
Oh, good one
with the kids. We have a lot of fun doing those kind of games, which
I like those games. Pictionary, all of those.
Like Taboo is my favorite. So couples do better in the empty nest phase who enjoy time together as partners, have common interests beyond parenting, and they have a strong couple identity. Like they can sort of see themselves, they understand who they are as a couple, like what they like to do together. Again, a lot of time spent, but that they have common interests that make it feel good to be together.
Yeah. Emotional regulation and conflict style. Couples did better who avoid escalating conflict, use humor, as we were talking about, and know how to regulate their emotions. Couples stuck in criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, or contempt often experience gray divorce.
Right. So that concept that we put in there is from the Gottmans. They call those four things the four horsemen, right? So criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, or contempt. Those are the things that they have identified as the four big predictors in a relationship that would lead to divorce in later in life or earlier in life. They will study couples and they will see the couples that get defensive when the other one brings a complaint. The couples that stonewall, which is ignoring your partner, like not talking to them for 3 days, which I can't stand.
Oh, I cannot stand that.
Contempt, just always feeling angry, always seeming like the other person's an idiot. Yeah. And then being overly critical. It's like we did that episode on criticism and like we realized like how often sometimes we're just like criticizing each other. I think Rachel sent the video. It was really funny about things I could say that my husband. I could say to my husband that he could never say to me, like, oh, your breath
post
stinks.
It's so funny.
Or
it's like a good
what
one.
Are you wearing? Like there are things that I think we are pretty critical of them that they take and they're just like, whatever. But if they said it to us, it would be like World War III.
And honestly, they wouldn't say it to us.
Yeah.
You know what I don't like in couples? I don't like when a husband or a wife puts down their husband or wife in front of other people for like a laugh.
Yeah.
Or
I don't like that either.
I don't care for that. And I think that's really like, it reminded me, I don't know where it falls under in those things that you just listed, but whether it's...
I think it's critical, right? I think you're being critical and sort of shielding it in humor. And sometimes that like works, but I think other times, especially if you know your partner is pretty sensitive to it, I think that a lot of fights in couples can be over that.
I don't like that.
Yeah. All right, so let's get personal and let's wade through what we want our empty nest marriages to look like and like also talk about a little bit what we're afraid of. So why don't you go first?
Okay, so it's so relevant because I just like keep thinking about it as the boys start doing their college search, the last two. So like I said, Gary and I have been together for a very long time. We have these things that we know about each other. We know each other's families so well. So I think that we're lucky in many respects. What I worry about is, of course, our lives have revolved around the kids. And as I've seen Zach go off and Jake go off, like some of the things that we shared as parenting those boys have, sort of like not gone by the wayside, but they've definitely like diminished. I mean, a lot of our parenting of Jake was, he was our wild child. So that was a lot of our parenting, but also his diabetes. Like when something is just so much a part of your life and you have to shift, it feels scary. So what I'm concerned about with Gar is that we have very different interests. I mean, we both love Syracuse basketball, Knicks basketball, the Yankees. Like we both love those types of things. So we've been trying to go to more Knicks games, and we are planning to go to more Yankee games. So I like that. But what I do worry about is that we have very different like music styles. I mean, he can listen to Goose or the Grateful Dead, and that makes me like, literally want to leave the room. I love to read. He does not like to read. I love reality TV and, brainless TV. He likes his podcast that he watches. So I worry that sometimes our interests are a little divergent. But I thought of something the other day. I love antiquing. He can't stand it. I thought like maybe he loves comedians with potty mouth. I love Nate Bargatze. So I thought the other day when I wanted to go to this antique show, he loves walking the dog. So I said, why don't we go to the antique show, bring the dogs. You could take a walk in this cute little town with the dogs, and I can pop into the antique show. I'm trying to accept the fact that it doesn't have to be like every activity we have to overlap. Like perhaps we'll have things that, we can do like parallel to each other or simultaneously without ingratiating ourselves and like forcing
it, because you're never going to find like a clone of you in the opposite gender or even in the same gender that likes exactly the same things as you. I don't like the exact same things as you. You don't like the exact same. Like, so I think when couples sometimes like, we don't have anything in common, I'm always like, what? That doesn't make a good marriage. You don't need to have so many things in common. You have to be willing to combine some of your things. Like, I think that makes complete sense, what you were just saying. Or you sometimes need to sacrifice, okay, I don't love going to a football game, but I'm going to go with him because he loves it, or whatever. But I do think that's where the finding things in common together, like something new that maybe isn't something you love or he loves, but let's try something new.
Right. So I think that makes me nervous, but at the same time, like with this episode and putting more thought into how to deal with some of those nerves, I think I'm actually coming up with some grand ideas.
You are? Okay, good. I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it was sort of similar, like what my fears are. It's like for us, hockey is so much of our weekends now, and it fills up so much time, and it's traveling, and it's going, and it really is like a calendar filler. And in a way, that's annoying, but in a way, it's kind of good. It's like we're both there together. We're both watching. I mean, even when we're at the rink, we don't even sit together because he thinks I'm so annoying. I'm constantly like hitting him or like nervous. And I think it's just like, like it's not even like we're hanging out so much, but it is like the common thing that we're doing. And then we analyze it and we talk about it. And like, it is something that just
takes up a lot of your time.
It takes up time and headspace. So I think we have to, I've been doing a lot of thinking as we were thinking about this episode, like what are the things that I think we could do together? Like, and I'm really trying to get him to start a garden with me this spring, because I think we would both really like that, even though I think he thinks it's all going to fall on him, and probably it will.
It probably will, but he does have a very creative side to him, so I can see him going well.
But I will feel like I will be good at telling him where to put the dirt and where to put the flowers, and then I'll be good at picking the flowers. So that could be fun. And I also think we like road trips. Like we both don't love to fly, so that becomes like a less of a whatever. But we both love road trips, and we both love like, if you have a convertible or opening your windows and just like listening to good music and taking good road trips. So I'm hoping we can do more of that in terms of like, let's just take a 30-minute road trip somewhere good to have a good brunch.
Yeah, I love that. Something you just said made me think of one other thing that I wanted to say. I also think it's okay, or you have to pay attention not to push your partner into, she'll want to sit on your lap.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sorry, but you asked for this.
Okay, lay down on Michelle.
Okay. Can you sit?
I also think it's important not to force your partner to do something that they really don't want to do. Like Gary does not like to putter around the house fixing things, and I always want things fixed. So rather than trying to force him to be something that he's not, I think I have to accept that, and especially in this next phase, and appreciate it. And, either I'll fix it myself or I'll have somebody else help me fix it.
Yeah.
Doing things together that you both enjoy instead of fighting about things that you're forcing somebody to do that they don't enjoy.
Yeah. And I totally think that's such a good one. It's like, we got to let some things go.
Yeah.
Like, let shit go. Like, that's a big thing I always tell my patients. Like, sometimes you just have to move on.
Yeah.
And all right, so he didn't do that thing or you didn't do that thing. Like, can you let it go? Because if you just keep walking around with a tally list of the things that your partner didn't do instead of focusing on the things that they did do. I feel like what I'm most afraid of is boredom, because for me, being bored is like the worst thing ever. And I think we're both creatures of habit and comfort. And so sometimes I think you can fall into a little bit of a rut of like just doing the same thing, eating at the same restaurants, not thinking outside the box because you're just like comfortable. And so you're like, oh no, it's just like, there's some weekends where we're like, should we go out? Should we stay in? And I'm just like, oh, I'm so cozy. I want to just stay in. But I think you have to push yourself. And so I think that's the thing I'm the most afraid of, but I'm very much paying attention to it. And we are talking about couples that we see in our life that are older and saying like, that looks like a life we would like to have, or that looks like torturous, or, I hope we can do more of those kinds of things when we're older, because I think, you need to have a visual, like you said, like a dream weaver, like kind of dreaming up what you want this next chapter to look like.
I love that. I think we are so much better off than some of the generations that came before, which didn't talk about a lot of things or accepted things or, fell into this like boredom or routine. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. And actually, I don't know if we mentioned this, but there is a lot of statistics that marital satisfaction actually, if you're not in that 1/3 that gets divorced, is reported to go up in the empty nest phase. So like that is something to look forward to. It's not a time that, if you can stay together and if you've come this far, like should be harder. It should be easier, because we're, when we're parenting also, we're both really anxious. We're both really stressed. And like, then you're not your best self. But now with, taking out all that stress that came from parenting, you should be presenting much more of your best self.
Yep.
So I think that's something hopeful to look forward to.
Nice.
All right. What are we into? What are we over?
What are we into? What are we over? Okay. So my over, I'm starting with my over instead of my into. I mean, for those of you who are listening and not watching, Rosie, who is my smaller dog and Michelle's best friend, or Michelle's her best friend, I should say.
She's one of my best friends.
Has now snuggled up in like a baby position on Michelle's lap, and
it's making me very happy.
Could not be happier. I'm going to do what I'm over first, and then I'll do what I'm into, because I'm really into what I'm into. I'm over this whole idea of let's normalize this. Every 5 minutes, are you smirking? Because,
no, I'm like, I agree.
Oh my God. Every 5 minutes, somebody is announcing that we need to normalize something, whether it's going to bed, not answering texts, canceling plans, eating alone. Let's normalize means I'm about to do something and I need 400 people to clap before I do it.
Just do it.
Can we just freaking do it? Like, why does there have to be a campaign, a movement for every personal choice that we make?
Agreed.
I'm kind of over that. If you want to stay home, stay home. If you want to say no, say no. If you want to change something about your life, just do it. Not everything has to be publicly validated or turned into a cultural movement.
I agree with that.
That's what I'm over. Sorry. That's
what are you into?
A soapbox. Okay. I'm really into my birthday present. Like I said, I love a birthday and I like to give thoughtful gifts. I hope I do. And I love a gift. I'm not going to lie. Everybody always says like, oh, don't get me anything. It could be the smallest thing. Get it for me. So for my birthday, I am into everything everybody was so thoughtful about. I'm wearing a charm necklace from my friend who knows that I love charms. And just because I have one charm necklace doesn't mean you don't need another. I am into this. I brought visuals, guys. I'm into this sweatshirt, which I will post. That it's
me and the boys.
Me and the boys.
That is so cute.
I'm into some boy mom stuff.
That's really
because everybody has all the girl mom stuff. I'm into this cute little sweater. What it says.
Love. It's so cute. The rainbows, and so on brand for before Boca.
It's so on brand. I'm very much into Polo Ralph Lauren. So like even like the cutest, sweetest socks.
Oh my God,
with
love
little
those.
rose on it. Look at this bag. I mean, it just keeps getting better and better. Like I feel like my friends really know me. This is an Ammo brand, and the brand, my friend told me, means you are loved.
Oh,
and it's a jean bag.
Great.
I am bananas.
That's really
over
cute.
it.
How would you like hold that over your like wrist like that?
You could just like hold it like this, or just like carry it like a shopper.
So cute.
My friend got me the, what do you call this? Like the fake Hermes.
Oh, the Boca.
The Boca.
So great.
F Hermes and their lines. Well, really, if I would love to have one, but and it has like a fake Labubu on it, like so cute. And speaking of bag charms, look what.
This is what we got you.
Chickadee got me. It's a year of the horse. You know, I love horses.
I love bag charms.
And how cute is
a good
this?
One. Rachel and I got that for you.
It's so cute. And even like, just thoughtful, like somebody got me a bag full of Mahjong stuff, which I'll tag. My friend got me this new lipstick, which I'm obsessed with. It's by Mario. Did you ever hear it?
No.
It's like a lip gloss, but it has
SPF in it?
A click.
Oh.
I'm like obsessed with it because, you know, like when you're putting on your lip gloss and like sometimes you don't know how much to turn it. It tells you by a click.
And it's very glossy. I like it.
And it tastes good.
Good.
Anyway, I'm into all those things.
Okay. Those are good ones.
And you asked us to post our outfits. It's so funny because we love getting dressed for the podcast, but we're like, who wants to wear what we're wearing? But like 6 people asked me in the last week, can you please post your outfits? So we're going to do it.
So we're doing it. Yeah. This is old what I'm wearing.
Okay. How about you?
Okay. So what I'm into the idea, and I kind of got this through my hockey journeys, of wearing a crossbody bag that's only for the phone. Like, I don't want to carry around 72 things. And so I actually found a really cute one by Kohlmeyer that I posted, and it's pink with a tassel. I think it's pink. And I'm eyeing it for the spring because I think it's really good.
Do I need that?
I don't know. It's I put
pink.
it on
I love pink.
But it's like, I like the idea of only walking. I don't want to hold my phone, but it like probably could fit your keys and your phone, and that's it. And I like that. I actually got a Prada one that I wore a lot for the hockey whatever. And it was great because I didn't have to schlep my big bag and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very into that. The other thing I'm very into is this Tom Ford lip gloss that I found the other day when I was meeting friends at the mall that I didn't need a new lip gloss.
The packaging alone, I'm bananas over.
So here's the thing why I'm like a little hesitant to post it. It was $60 for a freaking lip gloss. But I will say the consistency and the shine, I'm going to re-put it back on right now, is really good. And the color was really good.
I mean, these days we spend $60 like on a shake and like some other random thing. I'd rather have something that I love.
It's a good color, right?
Instead of 10 lip glosses that I don't love. It's a great color.
And what I like about it is not drying out my lips.
Yeah, and it's good shine.
So it's good shine, not drying out my lips. I posted it on our vanities, I think. The packaging is good, but who cares about that? I mean, the other lip gloss I was wearing has been that Maybelline. That's like $8. So I feel like it was a big
it's a high low
price discrepancy, but it's a good one. What am I over this week? I mean, I wrote down that I'm very over taxes because I just got finished trying to like put everything together and do that. And I cannot stand that. It is like the time of year that I dread the most because I have to do it for my practice and then just getting everything together.
Getting everything together. And every year I say it, like after I have stressed about getting together what I need to get together, is next year it's going to be different. I'm going to put everything in a folder. Nothing.
No
folder.
I'm so bad with my, like, I have a new accountant now and he's like, well, what do you do for your bookkeeping and your practice? I'm like,
bookkeeping.
I don't do anything. Right. I don't even know like I'm so disorganized and I know, and like it brings out that I'm being disorganized, but I just like don't have the headspace to like do it different. So that is kind of what I'm over right now.
Love it.
Love it.
And our podcast is over for today.
I know, Rosie, we're done. All right.
What's
What
next?
are we talking about? Oh, next week we have a guest.
Ooh, next week we have a great guest. You will love it.
Yeah, I think she's going to be great. And she's going to give us a lot of good information about how to get our bods working in the way we need it to work.
Speaking of,
she's not going to like my posture.
Like the slouching.
She's not going to. Oh, one thing I did want to talk about that I thought was like very interesting was I just watched a video like last night as I was trying to fall asleep, and it was Bethany, and she had bought something probably off TikTok or something.
Oh, I saw this.
Did you say?
Yeah.
It was something that you like squeegee almost your face. It was like a glass. How to describe it? Like a glass.
Almost like micro needling for
but
amateurs.
It was not. It was like suctioning. Like
you were
not good. Almost like a suction, but the suction part was glass. Anyway, she was suctioning her face to contour her face, and it broke.
It's terrible.
The beaker broke and cut. Her entire face was gushing blood from this product.
Yeah.
And of course, you go to all the comments and everyone's like, oh my God. But they're like, say goodbye to that company. Because, I mean, again, when you send something to an influencer like that and she has such a reach, and then she got seriously, I mean, her poor face was sliced.
Yeah. And she'll tell it like it is. She doesn't beat around the bush, nor should she. Like, that is dangerous.
She was like showing us like the blood coming down. And I felt so bad. So that was the other thing I was going to mention that I was over. It was just like being influenced by all these dumb things. Like I did buy 2 products this week that I was like, all right, if they're good, I'll talk about them. But I was like, you know what? They're not that good. They're not any different than anything else I have. And I'm not going to talk about them.
Jake told me that influencers are out and founders are in, it's called. And I kind of like, not to be like snotty, but I feel like that's what we are because...
Are we?
I think we are. Especially our link tree. You guys really get on it. We will... Trust me, this is not about making money. This is about just sharing things that we love and that products that we actually use that we love.
Yeah.
And it's different from influencing. Yeah. We're not looking to make millions off of Amazon.
One other thing I was going to say I was over is like everyone doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Wearing the same thing, looking the same way. Because like I'm looking to redecorate some things now and I'm like, I don't need to have my house look exactly how someone else's house looks or pick the same things, or it's like so hard not to be influenced because when you look at a picture like, oh, that outfit looks cute or that kitchen looks cute, or not cute but pretty, and it's hard not to just want to be kind of a copycat or be influenced. But I am really trying to be more of an independent thinker. Like, do I need that? Is that going to work for me?
I love that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Okay, over and out. We've rambled on enough.
Over and out.
See you next week.
Mwah.